Hi, my name's Chris York. I'm the managing news editor here at Kyiv Post, and today we are joined by Anna Derevyanko, Executive Director of the European Business Association and CEO and co-founder of Global Business for Ukraine. Hi, Anna. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Chris.
So just to start, for our viewers who may not be aware of what the EBA is, can you just give us a little overview of what you're doing in Ukraine?
First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. And EBA is the business community, the biggest business community in Ukraine, which brings together around 900 companies, which create in Ukraine over 2 million jobs locally, and as well they pay millions of hryvnias to the state budget. And the key idea of the European Business Association is to make voice of transparent business louder, to impact the decision-making process in Ukraine, to fix unlogical things in the regulatory environment, and bring it closer to European norms and standards.
So people watching the news about Ukraine from abroad might find it quite surprising that there are still large events being held. And I understand that today the EBA has its annual general membership meeting. So could you just tell us a little bit about that, please?
Indeed so. Basically, the interest is huge. We have over 600 people in the list of registration, so it's indeed so. It's going to be really a big event with very substantial content. It's going to be an interaction business, government, and international business community, because event tomorrow is not only annual meeting of European Business Association. It's the first General Assembly of newly registered last year Global Business for Ukraine. And this Global Business for Ukraine institution is actually, it shows that there is a synergy between Ukrainian business community and Ukrainian business community. EBA has access and opportunity to advocate for the interests of companies in Ukraine, and Global Business for Ukraine arranges access to the international business community. And here we see actually opportunities for cooperation. So I really invite your readership to consider joining Global Business for Ukraine. And once you're here in Ukraine, of course, you're welcome to join European Business Association. But today we expect really very intense consultations, discussions between government and business. And people are really looking for networking, because they like to talk to each other here in Ukraine. They need this energy exchange. So we are gladly offering this to our people.
Obviously, we're now 21 months into Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The business scene in Ukraine has faced many challenges. What's the current situation in Ukraine? And we're obviously nearly at the end of the year. What do you see as being the challenges that we can expect in 2024?
Look, it's just really necessary to say that business life continues in Ukraine, because we see 100% of our members either fully operational or partially operational. And the part of fully operational business grows. So it means there is vibrant business environment which managed to adjust to the new normality. Even, it's important to say that majority of our businesses even cash positive. So it means that it's possible to make business and earn money, make profits in the current situation. Obviously, the situation is not like rosy road. Of course, there are challenges, and the challenges are as follows. The first and foremost for many businesses is people, because many people are on the front. Some part of people left the country and worked distantly for companies, and basically there is a disbalance between between the need of corporate sector and the proposal of people on the market. So that's why clearly we see shortage and deficit of labor. Still, companies so far cope. The second challenge is the challenge of logistics. When it comes to logistics, I mean logistics when it comes to the seaport connection and also crossing the border with Poland. because you probably know and your readership knows that there are some strikes on the Polish-Ukrainian border. And obviously, as a consequence, days of expectations on the border for goods which are going out and going into the country. So this is clearly another challenge which we need to face. Then third challenge is how to stay operational at the area which is close to front line, and as a consequence as well, pollution of land with mines, with everything, because this is one of the major things for agricultural sector. And fourth thing, I think that it's important to mention, especially in view of your readership and your audience, it is international audience. I think that it's important to mention that some companies like IT business and even those ones who produce for European companies sitting in Ukraine, it just also fear of the global companies that Ukrainian-based companies can screw up the contract and cannot fulfill the commitments. In this respect, I can only say that it's not true, because actually the fear is not substantial, because not material, I would say, because we see that all our member companies manage to fulfill their commitments, and the plea from the business community and from us as well, continue business with Ukraine, give jobs to Ukraine. We are not asking for help in monetary terms. What we are asking for actually to continue keeping us as part of the value chain, of the global value chain.
And so a lot of organizations like the EBA, they make a lot of announcements and there's a lot of good intentions there. But is there any concrete successes on the ground in Ukraine that the EBA can point to and that you'd like to highlight?
From outside, and even sometimes, you might feel that nothing is happening, because actually fundamental things are changing not very quickly. I mean, rule of law, justice, etc. But nevertheless, we in EBA, we have some sort of track record of those initiatives with which business goes to the government. And actually we make this track record over 10 years already. And we see that actually when business says in the country, it actually expresses itself, it's possible to change situation for better. It's possible to improve. And the confirmation is our statistics, because even last year we transmitted to the government around 400 various initiatives of collective nature. 65% were result in favor of business. When it comes to individual concerns, out of 200 initiatives, 85% have been result in favor of business. This year, the situation is pretty similar. So it means that in case we feel some injustice or some problem in place, the business acts, the business says about that, and it's possible actually that the government listens. Government listens. So in this respect, I can tell you that obviously we are covering lots of things like agriculture, logistics, pharmaceutical sector, taxes, everything, but nevertheless, we see that actually there is a cooperation between business and government. There is readiness to hear business by the government, and there is also opportunity to impact the decision-making process. So that's why I may only say that yes, it's tough, but it's possible to do business and make profits here.
You mentioned just earlier some logical things with bureaucracy. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
For example, nowadays we might have the situation with law enforcement institutions, right? When they actually can come to the company and say that they are going to have inspections, and the inspections may last, and they may actually try to find some artificial, basis to find the company, etc. And if the company is keeping silence and doesn't speak up, then obviously it's very easy probably to become a target for them. But when the company really understands that it has legitimate interests, that it has opportunity to protect itself because it's fully right. Then it comes to such institutions as there is also business ombudsman, there are also other institutions in the country. And basically through network of business representatives, it's possible to resolve it and basically to protect against law enforcement institutions, which are sometimes not acting as we, transparent business, would like them to act.
Okay, you mentioned earlier as well the situation on the border with trucker strikes, and that's just one of the, should we say, like slightly negative things happening right now in terms of business. There's also ongoing war fatigue and questions over US aid. So what would you say to potential investors who are maybe thinking, well, we'll wait until the war's over perhaps before we invest in Ukraine? Is there now to attract investors in Ukraine?
I think it's really important not to miss the train, right? Because I can say that nowadays we have investors who are coming. Also, I need to be fair, right? There is not a queue of investors which are coming and rushing to bring money to the country. At the same time, there are examples of pretty substantial amount of investments which are coming already now during the wartime, and I'm talking about such international companies as Bayer, which brings 60+ million to Ukraine, Nestle, which invests 43 million euros, Kingspan, which invests over 200 million euros, Philip Morris with 20 million, Unilever 20 million. So basically we see a substantial amount of companies which really believe in Ukraine and believe in its future. And basically why they do so? Because we are now in the historical process of negotiations. They are about to start because actually European Commission advises member states to give the green light to those negotiations. And obviously, basically it means that Europe considers Ukraine already as part of its family. Because it was like clear message from Olaf Scholz many times already that actually investing in Ukraine means investing in the future member state of European Union. So basically, I think that it's important to really acknowledge what kind of strengths you have, what kind of value you can bring to Ukraine, and then actually calculate properly, and basically you can really do business here even now during the wartime. You can use this time to prepare yourself. It does not mean that you should rush with your money now. Just probably at this stage it is not that much needed, although nevertheless there are some areas where this would be needed, like demining, like defense sector, high tech, etc. But nevertheless, in the rest of things, it's just possible to collect information. It's just possible to talk to people, to various stakeholders. It's just necessary to prepare just in case the war is going to be over soon and the reconstruction process would start. You would be there already. Because if you would not do this now, when the reconstruction process would start, you would be just simply late, and that's it. Mm-hmm.
And you've mentioned a couple of times the demographic problems. Like, is there anything that the EBA is doing to address that? Or is there anything the EBA can do to address that?
We are monitoring the situation. We are asking companies what the situation is. But what can we do? Because we are asking what can we do in this respect. If we are talking about mobilization, and moving people to the army, then we as EBA, we are raising the voice. We are saying that, look guys, yes, it's necessary to secure interests of military sector. At the same time, in case we would like to have economy going, obviously we need to secure people to work for economy. And I should say that we are pretty successful in that. And we were actually, somehow instrumental in keeping certain labor, like human resources for companies during these 21 months of war, because the government was receptive to our proposals. We were somehow working as connector between the business community and the government, and it's necessary to give credits to the Ministry of Economy, who really responded positively to the appeals from our institution, and it allowed companies to keep their labor force, as well as it gave more freedom for people to move in and out, because obviously in order to make business you need to have opportunity to meet your international stakeholders, to develop your business and have business trips abroad. Which is really very problematic currently. So we as EBA, of course, we are doing advocacy efforts in order to help both the government and business community to find this this balance in the relationships when it comes to the labor. We are also, as EBA, we are somehow saying to the government that we might have even more severe problem when it comes to the labor shortages. And it seems to me we are coupled also with viewpoints of social experts, demographic experts, which are also saying the same. So somehow we try to initiate discussions on this particular topic as European Business Association and brainstorm what can we do as the business community and government to prevent the aggravation of the situation. So this is clearly what can we do. What else? We cannot move people out from the front line. And we do not want to actually interfere with this. We cannot move and instruct people actually to move out from abroad and come back to Ukraine. So this is actually a voluntary choice of people. So here actually I'm thinking loud, what else can we do in order to resolve this issue? I think that actually people can come back to Ukraine once the war is over, once security guarantees would be in place, even if the war would be extended. So it should be more comfort for those ones who left, and they should come back, because now they have a choice either to stay in those countries or to come back, right? And they are needed obviously in this country, but in order to make them come back, or at least stimulate and motivate them to come back, we need to create conditions here.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us, Anna.
You're welcome.
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel or check out KyievPost.com for more great interviews and exclusive content. Thanks for joining us.